Hello everyone, welcome to a special edition of Adrian Snary Unlearning, and today I'm joined by Kathryn Gregory. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you.
That's good. We're in Kathryn's fantastic veranda area up at, is it Mucha? Mucha. Way off, I should know that, shouldn't I? And yeah, we're fresh off having a Reiki session, so yeah, I've wanted to have Kathryn on the podcast for a while now, so we thought we'd make today the day. So yeah, we've had a bit of a chat about some of the things we'd like to discuss, and there's definitely a few, but we thought we'd sort of start with just I guess your story into this work and how you went from, which I think we can help other people with, to be able to really live, feel drawn and want to live. So yeah, perhaps can we start with that, Kathryn?
We can, definitely. So yeah, it was definitely through yoga and my yoga practice that sort of really stepped me forward into realising, wow, we're not just this physical being. There's like energy, and the movement and the energy was, it just really resonated with me. So that's probably about 5 years ago, and I started a really solid, consistent Bikram yoga practice.
Right.
So yeah, very drawn to the hot yoga.
Sure.
Very yang.
Like today, it's very hot here today.
Very hot. Yeah, it's like, in my element.
Yeah.
And it was, working in the city, doing full-time graphic design, and just sitting at the desk all day, and there's that whole sitting syndrome that's going on. And after being very active, and when I first moved here, I was working outside, I was working on farms, and it was such a big shock to go back to that desk work. I was looking for something else. Sure. And that brought me to the yoga. And then that just opened the whole world of energy and chakras, and it was amazing.
Is that something you knew much about before that?
A little bit. I've always been really interested in like holistic healing, and even from a teenager I used to use like homeopathic remedies and essences and yeah, you know how you kind of dip in and out of things. Sure, yeah. But yeah, it was definitely, 5 years ago, doing yoga shoved me onto this path with a great big push. I loved it so much, went off and did teacher training, and became a yoga teacher, and that was just in my element. And it was definitely one of those things, like when everyone asks, what's your life purpose? How do you know what your life purpose is? It's always been teaching for me, and that came through as well. It was like teaching anything. Sure. Yeah. And that was really strong. Right. And then it was, probably I'd been teaching for about not even a year. I can't remember now. Linear time, I lose it. And that's when I was introduced to our lovely friend Shelley, who introduced us, who is my Reiki master. And then from there, did the Reiki level 1, and it was just like, wow, I've done this before. You know, something feels really familiar and really natural and really easy. Right. And I wasn't quite understanding what was happening, but it all made sense. And generally just that whole thing, it's going to sound really cliche, that whole like coming home. Right, sure. And suddenly feeling comfortable. Yeah. It's like, this whole healing thing. Yeah. It's brilliant.
Do you find though, with the yoga, that helps with, I thought you brought up a good point about how like the yoga opened up all these other different facets of what's possible in life, and I think it's like what the great benefit of yoga is it's expansive. So it like a good friend of mine, Steph, he talks about how it's important to find the comfortability in being uncomfortable. So yoga allows you on a physical, emotional, mental, spiritual level to really have to like push yourself and expand yourself, and then that's where like that expansion is what allows for other things to come in. And there's no other practice quite like yoga, I feel, to be able to do that. That we have. I mean, you can do it in ways with just pure like Vipassana meditation or high intensity training or something like that, but yoga's just got this amazing ability to wrap that all up together. Yeah, and especially Bikram, I would assume, which I haven't experienced yet. I've experienced hot yoga, but not Bikram. So
but as you said, it's what I found personally the only form of exercise that works all 4 bodies. Right. And you have to be so present in that moment, especially said if you've got like 40-degree heat going on, 40-degree humidity. It's like all you can think about is that moment right now in that posture. Sure. Everything else just falls away, and that's why I was drawn to it, because it's the only thing that would shut my head off. Yeah, I guess that's the thing, especially for I think Type A personality people, or people who really quite, and there's nothing wrong with that, like having that quite a rational understanding and a thirst for knowledge, but
you can have too much of a thirst for knowledge. And something you spoke about a bit earlier was that the importance of rest. And yoga, in a way, sounds weird, but it does give you a chance to rest. You know, rest your mind and let just other facets of your body go to work.
It's like how it was invented. You do your yoga class, and then you'd be in the right state of mind to then meditate.
Yeah, it was geared up for meditation, wasn't it? Like people would, it was like sort of like a limbering up state, physically and also mentally, to be able to like get ready for meditation. And the shavasana that you do after the yoga is just like can be some of the most fantastic 10 to 15 minutes of your life.
Absolutely. Where
a lot comes in. Can you perhaps just give us a bit of an understanding, because I find shavasana really, really interesting, but what's your sort of take and what you've gleaned out of shavasana in the past?
It's funny, I always say it's the best part of the class, but the whole class should be the best part, but it is. It's like you've just worked so hard, and it's so important again to drop back through all 4 levels of the body, to rest the physical body, to let the heart rate come down and balance. It's a bit like at the end of the healing session when you've been grounded, you're grounding your energy back in. And for me personally, I learned a really amazing technique off one of my yoga mentors, because we ideally say stay there for at least 2 minutes to 5 minutes, unless it is an organised, like some classes you go to do have an organised 15-minute meditation, but we do suggest that once the teacher's left the room, you just stay as long as you want. And I actually walk people through a journey, which it's not a usual thing for Bikram yoga, but I've adopted this practice because I find it brilliant for myself. So I walk people through their whole body, like inviting them to relax their toes, relax their feet, just walking all the way up through the body. And it takes usually about a minute to a minute and a half. And some people love it, and you lose them, they fall asleep, and they're like, oh, you put me out then. And then other people, they just can't stand it, and they're just like, I just want to get out of here. And usually they're the ones, it's like, you really need this, mate, just chill, it's fine. It's a safe space, but it's just integrating all the bodies, and right at the end your heart's open, mind is still, heart is open, and that's your main aim, really, isn't it?
It is, and we definitely don't do that enough in life, do we? We're very as human beings, and perhaps it's the way we've been conditioned as well, is to be just always with the mind, operate from the mind. And it's very rare that we get that opportunity just to be just purely heart-centered and put the mind to rest for a period of time. But goddamn, what occurs when you do is quite incredible. So, like, it makes me wonder, I don't know why I feel like I'm going towards, like, a bit of a conspiracy theory part here, but, like, why is it that we don't have a society built more on... And whenever I used to hear these words, heartfelt practice, my eyes used to roll in the back of my head, and goddamn, what are these hippies talking about?
Fluffy stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But now, I've experienced it. I truly understand what it's about, and that's one of the reasons you and I want to do this podcast today, was to help bring this terminology and these experiences and take it out of that woo-woo state that it can be found in. Not that there's anything wrong with woo-woo, of course.
Woo-woo's great.
But it's good if we can make these practices more widely, just I guess accessible for just everyone out there, and doesn't feel like it has to be the realm of the typical spiritual type, whatever that might be. But where was I going with that thought? So as a society, if we were to spend more time just more in a heart-based practice, and spend periods of time, that even if it's 10-15 minutes a day, imagine the creativity, imagine the things that we'd accomplish, and we'd be able to conjure from the ether, wherever the imagination comes from, wherever our creativity comes from, whether it's a series of experiences that build up in our neurology, and then it gets expelled into another product, or if we do bring it in from something else, probably doesn't matter. But what does matter is actually being able to do it, and in our society we just don't get that chance.
We're all running around, we're too busy and rolling our heads, and it's just getting back to soul, and that's where our blueprint is, and that's where all that wisdom is. We know everything already. We just need to. That's when having your 10-minute meditation, going outside and just taking a few deep breaths while standing in the park, standing in your garden, just really getting back, and then to presence. It's all about being. We're human beings. I love that analogy, that beings, we're not human doings. And just sinking back into that heart space, and as you said, that's when all the wisdom comes through. Is that when I come out of meditation in the morning, I'm like, where's my notepad? I've got got to write all this stuff down before I forget, because that's where it all, connecting back.
Yeah, sure. I'm doing something similar at the moment. I've just started doing a dream journal, and
Cool.
because I've stopped a particular practice with a plant that I stopped that about 3 weeks ago, and so my dreams have like come back again, and because I'm going away in a couple of months' time, I thought this would be a really great opportunity to like. I haven't after the Reiki session that you and I just had. Like, I'm definitely starting meditating again tomorrow. Like tonight even. Like but with the dreams, it's like being able to write them down or whatever it's meditation. But I find that there is a story to them. There is a chronology, and it is bringing up experiences that you need to look at as an individual that can help you in the future. And I really see that how the importance of one, not only providing yourself that space in the first place by doing the meditation or whatever it might be, but also then journaling it down and writing it down and see if there's a theme there or something that's important to.
Absolutely, because we forget there's so much goes on all day that we forget. And dreaming, gosh, the sleep realm is this great subject to get on for me. A lot of my work happens when I'm asleep.
Okay.
That's when my guides come in, the veils are thin. That's when we go back. We can leave our bodies and go into different realms. And I used to suffer from horrific, since I was like a teenager. Wake up and I'd be like, what's going on? Like screaming, turn the light on and go, it's nothing there, go back to sleep.
Sure.
And it wasn't until I got on this path that it was explained to me. They're not night terrors, they're just your guides, people coming in to talk to you. And obviously I had no sort of education on how to stop it or how to control it. So now it's like brilliant. It's like, I go to sleep and you never know what's going to happen. Yeah. It's like, who needs wine and stuff to have this amazing experience? It's like, just meditate and have some crazy dreams. And it's funny, whenever I go on like retreats, especially residential ones, literally I can feel the work starting a week before in my sleep.
Okay.
And literally the night, here we go.
Right.
You see everyone else the next morning, especially when it's a collective of spiritual people, you're all like, oh god.
Yeah.
And it's actually easier to be awake
right.
than be asleep. It's like, sorry guys, hand off now, I need to wake up.
Just so much is being brought in by the collective, The
downloads and the information and the healing. And, the dreams are crazy in Sedona.
Right, sure.
Mixed with jet lag.
Yeah. So I'd like to bring up Sedona, but perhaps we'll wind back around a little bit to the Reiki.
Oh, yes.
And so you had this, developed this practice of yoga teaching. Then you met Shelley, did the Reiki, and what's I don't know, perhaps you can just take over it from here, but how has Reiki played an important part in your life? Obviously is an important part of your life.
Huge.
From then till now.
Just the ability for one to heal myself first. Whenever I've got like stuff going on, and I'm a huge believer in physical manifestations come from the emotions.
Okay. Yep.
So whenever something suddenly pops up on my physical body, I'm like, what's going on? What emotion's going on here? What haven't I addressed?
Sure.
And really using Reiki on myself, using my crystals, using my essential oils to really like clear that out.
Right.
And it's just made me, with combination with the Reiki and the yoga, it's just made me a lot calmer. So I'm a total A-type Aries.
Right.
It could get a bit full on.
Sure.
And it wore me out a lot.
Right.
And that's when you hit that real dark times and then you can't get back up again. But Reiki's kept me, the shadow comes in, but it's always kept me sort of in the middle.
Yeah, okay.
And I can recognise things quicker.
Right.
And it's amazing to be able to facilitate healing to other people, and that's how I learn. It's like you teach what you need to learn. And on a healing path, it's like I just learn from everybody else.
Yeah, it's so important to like really, I mean, if you're fortunate enough, and you can, I believe you can conjure it, you can attract that into life, but just the people around you are the best teachers. They really are. And it's not even that they necessarily have to teach you in a, we spoke a little bit about this before as well, in a stereotypical, what we feel is teaching, but just their presence, just being around those sort of people and how they carry themselves, how they move throughout the world. If you can surround yourself, and you just, that part of you though needs to also just shut up and listen. Needs to just like get yourself out of the way again. Just take in what these people around you are doing, and what, not just the people around you, it could be the animals around you, the trees, the plants, You know, we can, everything around us that's external to us is really a massive teacher.
Be the observer.
Be the observer. Yeah.
Just step back. I love the whole perspective. Just think of an eagle and just see it from the eagle's point of view. Because sometimes we're so in close and we can't see what's under our nose, and it's good to pull back. And I've definitely found, like with my healing journey, the clients I attract are obviously the ones that I can help, and they're just like mirrors to me. I'm like, oh yeah, this is me last week, this is me 2 years ago, and then I can help them. So there's no need to have books. Well, okay, books are great. The borrowed knowledge is great, but
I know what you mean.
Now it's just like, oh yeah, I've walked through that as well, like what we spoke about from your session. It's like, oh yeah, know about that. And they can just assist people, go, oh, this has worked for me, I've walked through this myself. And
something you brought up just a moment ago was about the shadow. Like the shadow is something that, I mean, perhaps through my own naivety, and before I got into more of the spiritual practice, like I thought the spiritual practice was all about just like dissolving the shadow, getting rid of it, just pushing, like, you know, outcasting it from my body. But it's not it at all, and it's really about finding a place to be able to show love to that shadow. And that's where you're able to then find that balance. You're able to find like a peace of mind. And when the shadow does come along, instead of seeing it as like a negative, you can see it as a positive. It's like, okay, thank you. What are you here to show me? Like, what is this? And I mean, I certainly had didn't go into full detail with you, but yesterday, like a big part of my shadow came up. But in the past, it would have been like, fuck, I'm not doing the work. Obviously, I'm not like where I'm supposed to. I'm not spiritual enough. Why am I thinking like this? And instead, like, for the, you know, getting into that realm of being able to say, well, no, okay, it's being brought up. What's it trying to show me? And let's turn it then into a lesson, a positive, a motivation, even. Yeah.
Absolutely. A lot of people that I work with, they comment on that. Always manage to spin it around, going, it's the equal and opposite of everything. It's nature's law. There's got to be the black and the white. And it's nice to be in the white all the time. But you know, we go in the black, then we come back into the grey. And I always say that to people at the start of a Reiki session. If anything comes through that's perceived as negative, flip it around. It's there to teach us something. And we have to walk. You know, we have to get messy. And it's only probably the past 6 months that I'm really going, embrace the mess. Get messy, acknowledge it, and then move on, rather than wallowing in it and then berating yourself. And going, oh God, I'm an awful call myself a spiritual teacher. Oh, I'm a mess. But then it's good. Then you come out and go, oh, I feel so much better. And I was just saying to a friend the other day, it's fine to remove yourself from a situation. Go and stand somewhere. Go and just scream, fuck off, wow. And then just have a massive sort of release and go, oh, I feel so much better now. And then it's done. And then you're back in the light again.
It's that very much a thing about just being with it.
And just acknowledging it.
Acknowledging it, showing it love even, you know. And understanding that those aspects of you are most probably coming up because that's something that has always come up in your life ever since a child. Those aspects were there to like help you when you were younger, when you're going through a tough time and you needed to like have like something come up to sort of protect you in a way. But we get to a point, I feel like, as adults where that's no longer needed. However, they're still with us if we haven't chosen to do something with them more constructive. And often what can happen, and because I don't feel like we're taught this, is that those aspects that become ingrained in us when they're younger can develop into things like addictions and you know from like depression, etc., etc., etc. And so we sort of instead of turning it into a positive, we just like we have this automatic default in our society for it to go into a negative. But with the help of like mindfulness, yoga, things like that, it helps you become more aware of that. And also having teachers around you as well is an important thing.
It's never a bad thing to go, having the whole dark night of the soul. Come out the other end and go, wow, that's powerful. Because you've got to shed to make room for the new. Some of it's got to go. And if it's, got to have a meltdown and... get to that top of the hill, scream.
Busting, I had a really cathartic experience with that when I was in Peru, actually. I had a really tough ceremony one night, and I remember I did something that was totally out of character the next day. Like it was like we had like a little lake set up where we were, and it was like a little dam wall, and I went out and I just had one of my mates there in the water next to me, and I just said, mate, there's going to be some noise in a minute. and just like three massive like yells and roars to like just the sky, and just sort of collapsed on one knee. And talk about cathartic, you know, like it did more for me than, I mean, I've never had any like pharmaceutical drugs or anything to help me with that, but like I just sort of had this knowledge, well, wow, if anyone could have just experienced what I just experienced, being able to just be with that pain that I was in, and just to like let it out. It's fantastic. Instead of what we do is we end up what we can do is distract ourselves from that pain instead.
And just push it down there. It's
yeah.
We're weak if we show that side. It's like, no, it's great to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
Sound as well. Love sound.
Sure.
Yeah. Sounds so clearing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. What I find fascinating too is there's more and more science coming into sound and how it works as well. I really find that interesting. You've only met her once, maybe twice, but Rati's quite in with that sort of work, you know, with the importance of sound and sound healing. And I just find that thoroughly fascinating.
How'd you find the crystal bowl today?
Yeah, great. I love crystal balls. Yeah. I'd really like you should. I really implore you to catch up with Rati again one day and do some stuff with her. You know,
when she's in town, because she's as bad as me for flipping
Yeah. She's in Byron Bay at the moment. Doing her thing, giving some presentations, etc.
Nice.
So we touched on Sedona briefly there, but yeah, it's something that I'm interested in discussing with you, because I'll be heading over that way too. But if you're able to tell the audience a little bit about your time in Sedona and what drew you there and what occurred.
Well, it's funny, you actually played a part in it, and I can't remember if I even told you.
Oh, really?
It was, you
Do
did.
tell.
Okay, so it was back in, let's say, September. One of these spiritual channels that I follow online, Lee Harris, who I've been following him since I got on this path. So he's like puts out a free energy forecast every month. Watch that. Has this whole portal thing going on, which is amazing. Always followed his work. And it was I remember it's a Friday morning. His email came in and was like, "Oh, I'm having a energy mastery retreat in Sedona," and I was like, "Ooh, Sedona. I've heard about this, the vortexes." I was like, Sedona, I can't go to Sedona. Oh my goodness! How many thousands of dollars is that going to cost? Don't be silly. Went off and actually had a channel guidance healing myself that afternoon with a lady in North Perth who's also amazing, Rebecca Dawson. And it came up in that about like my channel opening and me stepping more into being a public channeler rather than just hiding behind the Reiki and going, oh yes, it's just Reiki, it's just intuitive. It's like, no, go and channel.
Sure.
And my guides came to me like, we're waiting for you, just give us a call and we'll speak through you. And I remember Rebecca saying at the end of the session, going, I really hope you find your mentor for this. And I was like, oh my goodness, Lee's email. I was like, I have to go to Sedona.
Already found it.
I've got to go to Sedona. And I kind of walked out there going, I've got to go to Sedona. And then you sent me a Facebook message and we were just chatting, weren't we? And I think you mentioned Sedona.
Okay.
Or I might have mentioned it, or it came up in conversation. And then that was like the third sort of, right, you need to go to Sedona.
Right, sure.
And then it all just happened. So, thought, 36 hours later, after I think it was like 6 planes I got to get there. It was amazing. And so I had probably about 5 days before the retreat to settle in. And a friend joined me from Indianapolis. She flew in, which is awesome.
Nice.
Another yoga teacher friend. So it was good to have a sort of semi-local on the somebody with the right accent.
Because those Americans are weird, so it's good to have another weird American with you.
And they were so cute. They're like, "Where are you from?" "Oh, Australia." "Oh yeah, you sound Australian." "I've got a British accent." "I don't sound Australian."
Sure.
It was really cute. But yeah, Sedona was amazing. It was just, everybody was just so happy. And as soon as I got there, it was just the energy of the place. You just feel amplified.
Right.
It was so gentle.
Okay.
Sort of, I'm home. This is just amazing. And I felt safe, and so the dream states was fantastic.
Okay.
And there was just, it's just hard to describe until you get there. And just the earth, you could just literally feel it vibrating. We did this amazing vortex spiritual journey. Just my friend and I, I just found it randomly. I was just like, spiritual journeys in Sedona, and there was obviously thousands, like every second shop there's a crystal shop. But this lady popped up and she was like, and I've totally forgotten her name, and I was meaning to look it up, but I think it's irrelevant because she actually retired.
All right. Okay.
And she went, no, you two. Got Liz to phone up. the American accent. And she went, no, I like the sound of, you two, so I'm coming out of retirement and doing this last year.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, because she was passing the business on to somebody else, and she'd been training this other lady.
Right.
But this is her, she was in her 70s. And she was divine. She took us out on the rocks, she drove us around, she gave us crystals, even when she was driving, she was just like giving us these psychic readings.
Right, okay.
And I was like, wow, oh my gosh, you're like, this is crazy. You're doing multitasking. I was like, when I grow up, I want to be like you. And we went out on the vortexes and we meditated, and literally, and like she gave us healing. And I remember the first meditation, it was probably only 15 minutes, like opening my eyes and literally going, hold on, my eyes open. Because I was having like full-on clairvoyant experiences, what I'd experienced with my eyes shut with my eyes open. I was like, really? And there's orbs, and you can see the energy moving and the colours with my eyes wide open. And then apparition beings were there. I was seeing, there's like a blue angel that's in Sedona, and she was just standing right there, and I was like,
oh wow.
This is crazy. How can we just stay here all, stop the rest of the vortex? Let's just spend 2 hours here. And then she's like, oh, no, this is just the start.
Yeah.
But and just feeling grounded the whole time. And it probably helped us like crazy jet lagged and a little bit spacey. And I was like, this stuff's great.
Sure.
And then the retreat with Lee, and there's 27 other amazing, it was all women actually. Okay. Which is,
Is that normal?
Yes and no. Usually there's men in the group, but this time there wasn't, even though there's a strong male presence within the females there.
Sure, okay. There's still that masculine energy coming through.
It was amazing, and again we had beautiful sound healing going on. It always had music in the background, and just really taking it to a next level. Having the combination of like 30 of us, all these light beings in a room in Sedona for 3 days doing some like really, it was very gentle, very deep and very intense. It was just felt like Sedona was just like holding us. And there's the whole Sedona effect, which was just psychic senses off the scale, feeling light, just feeling like, it was like how I describe how you have to do a really deep meditation to get connected. It was just natural. It was just, you just was switched on all the time without it being invasive.
That environment had been cultivated.
And you can tell why that's what I was like, this is why everybody's so happy in this town, because they're just walking around this bubble of Sedona love and magic.
Yeah. Wow, what an experience.
It is. And it's spectacular as well. You just don't know where to
look.
The
landscape.
Yeah. 360-degree postcard, and we walked everywhere. We were the weird people that walked everywhere.
Sure.
Everyone drove. Even like the car service one day, they were like, we're at Whole Foods, and we're like, we can't carry all this stuff back. Let's ring a taxi. And the guy was like, I've seen you girls walking around town. Why are you walking around town? I'm like, don't we want to be walking.
Yeah, check this place out.
Not like 2-minute car ride up and down the hill.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'd been clocked by the locals. Going, there's these two weird ladies wandering around.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so what came out of it for you? Like by the time you finished and like the work you'd done there, what changes that you noticed in yourself?
It was the confidence.
Okay.
The confidence to step up into that next level. And as I said, actually, and having other people there that were channelers as well. And just going, wow, I can do this.
Yeah. And not fear any outside influence or any judgment that may have been there previously.
Going, people are going to think I'm nuts if I suddenly go into this state and my voice changes and I start speaking all this stuff that isn't me.
Sure.
And just realising the power of the channels and working with Lee and the Z's and his collective. It was like seeing how that guidance had a massive effect on us all and going, oh my gosh. It's just, again, getting the messages out there. Yeah. And to help people.
Sure. And that's what we spoke about before, was that really it feels like this year is about that for a lot of people. Like, it's like if you've experienced something or you've had something happen to you, occur to you, or had some sort of thoughts or something you want to do, like in the past, I think we all probably just held ourselves back just for fear of judgment or whatever it may be. But it's like there's twofold. It's like we're all having to grow this confidence within ourselves and say, no, okay, this is who I am and this is what I want to do. But there's also just this, feels like this real collective that's forming, a group of people right around the world. I did a podcast with Heath last night, and he was talking about like how technology has really aided and the internet has really aided in being able to connect people and bring people together. And if it wasn't for the internet, you probably wouldn't have been over in Sedona.
I would have known about it. Yeah.
You wouldn't have known about it. Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't even found Lee because all his work's online. And
sure. Oh, I mean, I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for the internet. Like, I wouldn't have travelled to the places I've travelled to, wouldn't have had the experiences I've had, and met the people that I've had if it wasn't for, you can even pinpoint it down to Facebook. Love it or hate it, it's been it can be an amazing tool for that. But this year is really about, I think everyone just stepping up, really stepping up, getting themselves out of the way, stepping up, and start to like say, hey, this is who I am.
Yeah. And there's more of us. We're all out there. And
sure. So what do you hope to see for 2016 in people, and what people are able to do and can do on an individual?
I just love to see everybody literally living a life that they love. They want to get out of bed in the morning.
Right.
It's like now I wake up every morning and I'm like, oh my goodness, what can I do today? This is so exciting. There's all these different multi-dimensions I've got now in my career and my day that it's, I just want to see that for other people. So they want to get out of bed. They want to go and experience things. Because we're here to experience so much.
Definitely. Yeah.
And just, have some fun with it. There's not enough fun going on. People need to play and... Yeah,
there's that thing of like, not take all this shit too seriously either.
Yeah, oh my goodness, yeah.
Which can happen sometimes, not just in the spiritual circles, but obviously just in normal life altogether. I shouldn't say normal life, but in the many facets of life, of which there's definitely many elements to it that we can take it too seriously. But no matter what like element we find ourselves in, just to not. It is just a ride, and it really is. If you can find that. I think we might wrap up there then.
Absolutely.
What do you think, Kathryn?
I think we've covered a load of stuff.
We did a pretty good job,
We did.
How can people find you? Have you got a website? I know you do have a website.
I have a website.
That's a loaded question.
A very graphic design without a website. But there's no graphic design on there. So you'll probably be able to post the links.
Yeah, I'll put the links up on the YouTube channel and the Facebook.
So my business is Seren Holistic Lifestyles.
Right.
And it has got quite a cool meaning to it. So Seren is it means Welsh for star.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, I'm glad you pointed that out, because I always just looked at it and I thought it just said serene.
Yes, a lot of people think it's serene, but there's no E on the end.
Right, I didn't even notice that.
It's
funny how it works. Okay, Seren.
Yeah.
And so what is it? It's Welsh for?
Star.
Star, okay.
And I came across the name when I was living in London, and I was sharing a horse there, because it's like, share a horse in London.
Is that what you do in London?
Yeah. Because you can't afford to keep your own horse. And she was called Seren, and she was a Welsh pony, and she had like a white star on her head, and her owner explained that name to me.
Oh, right, brilliant.
Yeah, and a really sort of, busy time when I was like living in London, she was sort of my she was my yoga.
Okay, cool.
So that kind of stuck in my head, and when I was thinking about like branding myself, I was like, because I wanted a name that you could like pretty much have anything under.
Yeah, sure.
And that came to me, I was like, Seren, and it was just straight away, I was like, the horse, the star, and obviously going back to like the British Isles where I'm from, there's all that connection as well.
Yeah, right.
And being a complete galactic kid as well, and
sure,
bouncing around in the angelic realms, it just made sense to have a name called related to stars.
Yeah, fantastic name. So Seren Holistic Lifestyles. Cool.
Yeah.
Any yoga teaching at the moment as well?
I am as well, so I'm going to get a yoga class in with me. So teaching Bikram yoga at both Yoga Tree Perth studios, one in Joondalup and one in Vic Park, and down at the Yoga Garage in Scarborough as well.
Okay, nice,
So,
cool.
I'm all around.
Nice, excellent. Well, everybody check it out, have a look at some of Kathryn's stuff. And any questions about anything we spoke about today, just get a hold of either Kathryn and I. If you're one of those people watching this and your eyes are rolling back a little bit, believe me, at least I was one of those people too in the deep dark past, but what a beautiful life this can be,
Absolutely.
So it's just about spreading more of that love, I guess. And,
it is, it's just about love at the end of the day.
Great way to finish on. Thank you very much, Kathryn.
Thank you, Adrian.
And we'll have to do this again sometime, no
yes.
doubt. I'm feeling really hot and really sweaty, but that's all right. And thank you very much, everyone else, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.